As I was editing this video, I realized that my audio quality coming through from my mic got messed up. So I had to use the audio from the camera. It's not as good as it usually is, but if you can look past a little bit of a subpar audio experience, this video has a lot of insight in it that I think is really gonna help you.
If you have an online business, you probably can relate to this feeling where you're hustling and you're working hard, and yet your business is owning you more than you're owning the business. It's kind of running you versus you running it. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how to build an online business that goes the distance, that lasts for as long as you want it to. I talk to so many online business owners who get started with a lot of energy and excitement around their idea and who they're gonna reach and the content they're making and the course they're gonna build. And somewhere along the way, and this is especially true if you're successful, it starts to feel more like a grind. It starts to feel more like I've built a business that I don't really like being in. This happened to me a few years ago. I've been in online business for about 10 years. And in the last 5 years, I've been full-time at it, meaning I left my 9 to 5 and went full-time doing this as my main gig. And I got to the point about a year ago where I had built a business that was requiring more of me than I really wanted it to. And I was doing things in my business that I didn't even really want to do. I was doing them because I felt like I had to. I just saw these things modeled by other people. And I thought, well, this is what you do if you're successful in this type of business. And I didn't want to just give that up. And so about a year ago, I got some pretty extensive coaching and I was able to do a lot of work on my business. And what resulted was more of eliminating things that I had just added over time and getting rid of those things that weren't really contributing to the satisfaction I had in my business, its scalability, meaning its potential to grow apart from my direct input of work, and just how much I actually freaking liked it, and the money that it was making. Everything improved when I made these changes. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to do this to your business. Whether you're just starting out and you wanna get right from the start, or if you've been in business for a while and you've seen some success, this will help you because it will keep you from building something that you don't really like and is not all that enjoyable. We're gonna focus on 3 key areas to measure, to look at, to figure out how we're doing in these 3 areas. And the first thing we have to understand is that our mindset must be for the long game. And you can define how long you want yours to be. For me, I look at it like I want to do this for as long as I want to. So it just always needs to be fulfilling. It always needs to be satisfying. It always needs to make enough money. And it always needs to be growing. Now, while I can speak from getting some of this wrong, I can also speak from getting a lot of this right. My business has grown by an average of $60,000 to $70,000 a year for the last 5 years. What does that mean? It means that it's been slow and steady growth. Do I want it to be $1 million of growth in 1 year? Of course. But what I have found is that if I just keep doing the things that are working and eliminating the things that aren't, I've given myself a raise every single year of about $5,000 a month or $60,000 a year. You add that up over 5 years and it ends up being a lot of money. Considering the fact that I didn't even make $60,000 in my job as a pastor, giving myself a $60,000 raise every single year for 5 years feels pretty good. So even with building a business that is actually pretty sustainable and has some steady growth, there was also things that I needed to correct. So in this video, I'm gonna get into all of it and hopefully you'll be able to prevent some of the same mistakes that I made and set yourself up for success. By the way, my name's Lane. I love to help people escape their 9 to 5 by building a thriving online business without a large social media following. If you're into that kind of thing, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you're getting something out of this video, consider hitting that like button. It really does help as YouTube will show it to more people. Okay, before we get into some of the tactical things that you can do, we have to think about how you think, because the way that you think about your business or your mindset as it relates to your business is pretty stinking important. You have to have a long-term vision for your business. A lot of people get into online business and they think in weeks or months or even a year out. And so what results is they are chasing trends, they're going after shiny objects, they're looking at what can make me a quick buck today, and they're not really thinking about how do I build something that I want to still be working in 20 years from now? If you shift your mindset to, instead of thinking in years, think in decades, what do I want this to look like in 10 years? What do I want it to look like in 20 years? Then you start to build a business that is really shaped around who you want to be as a person. One of the things that I love about my business is it completely supports my lifestyle. I got into this because I didn't want to have a job that I had to go to every day. So great, now I don't have a job that I have to go to. I choose to or I don't. I didn't want to have a boss, so I don't want anybody telling me what to do. So a lot of what I have done has been in avoidance of being told what to do, which is why I'll get into some of the things that I've done and some of the things that I've changed because of that one thing. I didn't want to have to ask permission to take time off. Well, and I don't ask anybody's permission to take time off. I wanted to build something that was scalable so that I could work less over time and the business would make more over time, and that has happened. That $60,000 per year increase in my revenue has been while at the same time I'm working less year after year. All of this is only really possible if I'm thinking long term. If I'm thinking short term, I'm really just concerned about how do I make a lot of money this year? How do I make a lot of money this week or this month? And I'm not really thinking about setting up the systems to make this work for me for the long haul. So let me ask you, do you think long term? And what does it look like for you to think 10 years out, 20 years out? The answer to that question could be the biggest value that you get from this video is just to think longer and let that put you at ease so you're not as stressed about the things that are happening right now and give you a plan that is workable. I've heard it said like this, that we tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term, but we underestimate what we can do in the long term. A lot of us look at the next 3 months and we say, we want to hit these goals and we want to sell this many courses and we want to build this big of an audience. And I am totally good with that. I love setting goals. I love them to be quick and short term because the shorter the time that you have to complete the goal, the more action you have to take quicker. And I'm all about taking action fast. But what can happen is you can get so fixated on this short-term outcome that if you don't hit it, you forget the long term. That if you just keep doing the things that you need to do for a long enough period of time and making the appropriate adjustments, getting rid of what's not bringing the results and doubling down on what is bringing the results over a couple of decades, you're gonna build yourself a pretty amazing business. And so think long term, think about what you can get done in the long term by doing the things today that get to that outcome. So mindset is the first thing, and it's really, really important. Now, we're going to talk about the 3 biggest things to do in your business to set you up for success over the long term. The first one is going to be scalability. The second one is going to be sustainability. And the third one is going to be satisfaction. They all start with an S to make it simple to remember. Before we get into it, I want to mention that if you want a complete plan for how to grow your online business to $1,000 a month on average so that you can take off from there, go to my workshop. It's free. It's on demand. You can watch it right now. It's over at lanesebring.com/workshop. It's called Turn What You Know into Dough. I'm going to show you how to take the thing that you know how to do, that you have unique skills or knowledge in, and turn it into a business that generates you $1,000 a month to get started. The goal is to grow it from there. But if you're just trying to get to that first $1,000 a month on average, this has everything you need, a complete plan to get there. It's over at lanesebring.com/workshop. All right, so let's talk about scalability. What does this mean? It means that if you have in your online business offers that scale, you will build a long-term business that is sustainable and satisfies you. So all of these are connected. So what are offers that do not scale? Offers that don't scale are things like one-on-one coaching or short-term group coaching or consulting. Now, doesn't mean these things are bad. I do all of that. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching inside of cohorts. I've done it all. But these things are not the backbone of my business. I don't want personally my business to be built on the necessity of doing these things, because at the end of the day, one-on-one coaching is still trading time for money. Leading a cohort is still trading time for money. I'm giving my time in real time. I'm getting paid for it. If I stop giving my time, I stop getting paid. That is the kind of active income that I'm trying to get away from, mostly in favor of passive income, things that scale. Now, what scales? What scales are things like online courses. You make it once, you sell it 10,000 times, and it's the same amount of work for you with a little bit of admin work, right? Like your software sells it, and then if there's a problem, you might have to deal with it or hire someone to deal with it. But by and large, your time, your input into the product ended when you built it. Things like digital downloads, where you build it and they download it and they pay you for it. Things like books. I've written 2 books, one of which was a #1 bestseller in its category on Amazon with my other online business, my original online business called Preaching Donkey. That book to this day still sells. Next year it'll be 10 years old, my first book, and it still sells every single month. It's still making me money every single month, a few $100s every month. That is a good example of scale, or at least passivity. I write it once and it sells again and again and again and again, even 10 years later. If you multiply enough of those kind of offers, then you are building a business that scales. Here's another way that your business can scale. Enough content driving leads to those offers. So I don't personally get in front of people and say, hey, buy my course, buy my thing, hire me for coaching. I don't personally do that. What I do is content that is free and invites people to take a next step with me into my lead magnet, and then puts them into my email funnel, and then my email funnel through automation offers them my products, which those products are scalable, and that whole system is scalable because every time I make a new piece of content, it's just thrown into the bucket of all the hundreds of pieces of content that I have that are all doing the same thing for me. You stack that up over a 10-year period or a 20-year period, and you have a lot of content generating a lot of leads, which are generating a lot of sales, and that whole system is scalable. Now, let's talk about kind of a different type of product in this that is sort of scalable at a point, but not as scalable as I want it to be, and that is a membership site or a community. Now, I ran a membership site for a year over at Preaching Donkey. I did it with a partner. We had a great time. We had a lot of fun with the members, but I found that unless the membership site grows to a certain point, it doesn't feel scalable. Here's what I mean. Let's say that you have a membership site that's $50 a month and you have 10 people in it. So that membership site is making you $500 a month. How much work is that $500 a month? For me, I had about 50 or so members when we launched, which was about $2,500 a month, but I had to split it with a partner, and I was doing a live Q&A every month. Between me and my partner who worked in it with me, we were alternating a masterclass every month. So think of it like a really extensive video lesson that we would upload into the community. And we were in the thread, meaning that we were inside the community, interacting with people, answering questions, all for what came out to $1,250 a month for me when we launched at 50 people. Now, the other thing that you have to think about with membership sites is people do churn. People leave the membership site. And then you have to have a mechanism to get people in to replace the people who left just to keep making the same payment, just to keep making the same money that you were making. Not only that, but you also have failed payments. So people put a credit card in and then it expires and you have to chase them down, right? And Kajabi helps with that and makes it easy, but it's still a thing that you have to think about. So with all that said, the reason why I put membership sites as kind of like scalable, but only with certain conditions, is they're only scalable when the money they make replaces your work that you put into it. So here's what I mean. Take that same $50 a month and let's take it from 10 members to 100 members. Now it's making you $5,000 a month. With $5,000 a month, there's a lot of things that maybe you were doing before that you can hire an assistant to do. So you can hire a community manager to be in there responding to comments. You can hire other content creators to come in and provide workshops for you. And then your contribution to it might be the Q&A, but you might have help for that. And then if you scale it up to where it's making, let's say, $50,000 a month, then all of a sudden it becomes well worth it for most people to spend your time doing the things that it takes to make that $50,000 a month. It's just getting there is a big, big deal. The reason why I say all of this is it's important to think about what kind of business are you trying to build. For me, when I had a membership site, it felt like having a job. It felt like I was still kind of answering to a boss, only in this case, I had a few dozen bosses that wanted me to show up. And they were good people, I'm not disparaging them. I'm just saying I have to very carefully put parameters around what I commit myself to, because this can easily start to feel like I have a job, I have to show up to the job because I have bosses and I expect things from me. And with online business, there's the magic of it where you don't actually have to do that. You can make a lot of money in a scalable way, passively, where you don't have to set things up where so much is required of you all the time. So the question I have for you is your business scalable? And what needs to change in your business to make it more scalable? If you want to share in the comments, I'd love to go back and forth and help you work through scalability in your business. The second thing we're going to do to make our business last for the long haul is to make it sustainable. What do I mean by making it sustainable? There's really three parts to this. First of all is simplicity. The second is the use of systems. And the third is some type of predictable recurring revenue. So let's talk about simplicity first. What makes a business not sustainable is complexity. When your business is so complex that it requires you to have to do all of this administrative and logistical stuff that doesn't necessarily put money in your pocket, but it just keeps the machine running, you have built a monster rather than a dream business. I want you to build a dream business, and a dream business has to be simple, especially if you are like me, where you're largely a solopreneur, where you do most of this yourself because you have the tools and the automations and the systems to keep things simple and multiply yourself so that you're not needed in every aspect of your business all the time, because so much of it is automated. And so if your business is complicated, make it simple. How do you make it simple? You create a very simple system where people discover you, get value from you, opt into your email list, and then buy your thing. And repeat that over and over and over again. How are people finding out about you? How are people opting into your lead magnet to get more value from you? How are people nurtured through your email list? And then how are people buying your products, your courses, your book, your coaching product, whatever? If that is complicated, right? If it's all over the place, if you've got all these different mechanisms where you're testing this and doing that, it can become very, very complicated. And if you're doing things that don't fit into one of those four things, that can be a complication. Maybe you're doing things because you want to build something shiny and new and fancy. You're chasing this trend when really the bread and butter is these four things, which is why in my workshop, lanesebring.com/workshop, I show you those four things and how to set them up and put them together using the right systems from the very start so that you have a sustainable, simple business. Now, once you've simplified it, we want to talk about systems. What are the systems that make things work? What is the system that makes your business work? For me, I use Kajabi, which is an all-in-one online business solution. What Kajabi does is it puts everything under one roof so that my website, my payment processor, my email marketing, my course hosting, my membership site hosting when I have had one, or if I make one again, my coaching packages, all of that is under one login, under one roof, and all speaks the same language and is integrated together. By the way, if you want to try Kajabi for free for 30 days, go to lanesebring.com/Kajabi. You get a 30-day free trial. You also get my 3 amazing bonuses: the Kajabi Accelerator course, the 25K course launch email template, and my top 3 mistakes that new Kajabi users make that I discovered helping 400 people get their start. This is an exclusive masterclass that you get showing you what mistakes to avoid and what leads to success on the platform. All of that is yours for free when you use my link to sign up over at lanesebring.com/Kajabi. What Kajabi does is it provides the system so that you have this simple way of viewing your business. You have a system to plug that into and let it run in the background of your life So that really all you have to do is make the content to pour fuel into that system, and then it runs itself. And over time, what happens is the more content you have and the more people that are coming into your funnel, the more people are buying your offer and the more sustainable it is. Now, let's talk about predictable recurring revenue, because there's really a couple of ways to achieve this. One is some type of subscription product, like a membership site, we've talked about that, or people pay a monthly recurring amount to get access to a set of downloads. That's one way to do it, and it's a good way to get monthly recurring revenue initially. Now, back to our previous conversation, I would be very careful with what you commit yourself to, and if you go the route of the membership site, make sure that you really go after enough people to make that scalable, right? Because you might have predictable recurring revenue, but if it's asking too much of you, it will burn you out, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So, membership site is one. Another way is an affiliate product that pays a recurring commission. This is one of my favorite ways to do it. I'm always looking for what is an affiliate product, something that I use and love that pays a commission that either lasts forever or lasts for a couple years, because if you build up enough of those, you get a good amount of predictable revenue coming in. Another way to do predictable revenue is just having the system set up so that you know pretty reliably, I'm going to have this many leads coming in and a X percentage of them are going to buy, and that's going to lead to Y amount of money. I don't know why I'm doing algebra. I'm going to have this amount of people come in, this amount of people are going to buy something, and then I know that that's going to result in this amount of money coming in. However you want to slice it, it all kind of goes back to the same thing. You have to have a good system where you're bringing people in with real, helpful, consistent, reliable content that meets them where they are, solves a problem for them, and then invites them to go deeper with you and produces that sense of, I gotta have this. I gotta have whatever they're selling because they've helped me so much. So build a simple, systematized business with predictable recurring revenue, and you will have a sustainable business. So the first thing was scalable, then we looked at sustainable. Now we're gonna look at satisfaction. At the end of the day, if your business is going to last the long haul, it has to be a business that you actually enjoy. So do you enjoy it? What are the things in your business that are burning you out? Do you really actually have to keep doing those? I had a coach look at me one time about a year ago when I was kind of working through some of the things in my business that I was doing, and he looked at an entire section of my business and he just said, why are you still doing that? Why are you still doing it? And I only had answers that centered around a sense of obligation. I should do it. I ought to do it. I've been doing it for a long time. I think it provides a lot of value. There's people that kind of rely on it. And so I guess I should keep doing it. And one of the things he said is you are shoulding yourself to death. You're shoulding all over yourself. Don't think about what you should do. That's a job. That's what you escaped, right? Your whole job is basically what should I do? What do I have to do to make this employer happy with me? That's what we escaped. So what do you want? Let this business be fueled by what you want. That's going to serve your people better. That's going to attract a larger audience. That's going to attract more devoted followers. That's going to attract more sales if you're doing what you want, because that's when you're going to bring your best to the table. So what do you want? And that resulted in me cutting off about half of my business at the time, which was a kind of scary thing to do. It took a lot of thinking and praying through this decision because a lot of my identity was attached to it. And I had to say, this isn't truly what I want for this business. Should I do it? Maybe, maybe not, but it's not really what I want. Therefore, it's not working. So satisfaction has a lot to do with leaning into the things that you want to do. Now, there's the other side of it where it has to also work. That gets into what we already talked about. Is it scalable? Is it sustainable? Is it driving the sales? All that stuff has to be there. But once that's there, is it truly what you want? Another thing that I used to do was I used to meet one-on-one with every single person who subscribed to Kajabi. I did this for free, 45-minute calls with anybody who signed up for Kajabi using my link. And I did that 400 times. And I really thought this is something that I have to do to get people to sign up with me, because why else would they? And my coach just said, well, have you ever questioned that assumption? Have you ever just thought, well, do I have to do that? Because I found that I was starting to burn out doing that. I was doing a lot of these meetings. People tend to not value free time. Here's what I mean. My coaching is very expensive. This is one of the things that goes back to kind of the scalability question. We talked about that. Courses are scalable, so they can be priced lower because you can sell there's no limit to how many you can sell, and you don't burn out. It doesn't require any more from you. Coaching is different. Coaching is your direct time, where you're giving your direct time and attention to someone else, their business, their problems, and you're helping them through it. So it is, by virtue of that, very expensive. But over on this side of my business, I was offering 45 minutes of my personalized one-on-one attention to anybody who just signed up, even just for a free trial, for free. So what I found is that people weren't really valuing that. Now, not everybody. I had some great meetings, and if you're one of those people that I had a great meeting with, I love you, and I'm glad you signed up with Kajabi, and I'm glad you used my link, and I hope that you're finding tons of success. But more than not, I was getting no-shows, people that just would schedule and not show up. I was getting people who would treat me like I was kind of subservient to them, like I was the help, Nothing wrong with being the help. I'm just saying, like, it was just a weird dynamic where I was like, wait a second, I didn't sign up to like be your personal assistant today. And there was a lot of things that were happening like that I didn't like. Felt like having a job. It felt like it was obligatory. It felt like, this is something I should do if I want my business to work, but do I want to do it? No. And so I had a coach just say, don't continue to do something just because you think you should, because you don't know. So I stopped doing that. I replaced those 45-minute calls with a workshop called The Top 3 Mistakes That New Kajabi Users Make, that I discovered helping 400 people get their start, exclusive masterclass. It's the longest freaking title in the whole world, but it explains exactly what it is, right? It is the top 3 mistakes that new Kajabi users make. I put that masterclass in there, and I just kept going, and I saw no change in the amount of people that signed up, not a single difference. So what I discovered is that now my business is more satisfactory to me. I enjoy it more. I have more passion. I have more energy for content creation. I have more energy for building products. I have more energy for my one-on-one clients that are actually paying a lot of money. All of that is there, and I love it, and it's sustainable, and it's great, and I'm satisfied with it. So all of that is true, but it takes the hard work of really looking at it and saying, is this something that I need to continue doing? So the question I have for you is, if you look at those 3 measures, what is the thing that you have to work on first? Is it the scalability? Do you have offers that are scalable, where you know that you can sell more of them and it's not going to stress you out? You can't sell more of your personal time to more people. You can sell for more expensive, but with courses, with digital products, with ebooks, with digital downloads, you can sell almost an unlimited number of them and it not be any more of a headache to you. So that's the first thing. What do you need to work on? Scalability. Do you have scalable offers? Do you have a scalable business model? The second thing is your business sustainable? Do you have the revenue coming in? Is it simple, or have you complicated it? Is there a system that you've plugged in that's working? If you're not on Kajabi, do you need to get on Kajabi? If you haven't gone to the free workshop that I offer, Turn What You Know into Dough, do you need to go to that? What is the step that you need to take to make your business sustainable? And then finally, does it satisfy you? Do you like it? And if you don't, what needs to change to build the type of business that you actually like? Let me know in the comments how all this hits you, because this has been pretty game-changing for me, and it's been something that has kind of transformed the way that I think about my business, because this is a growth process. We're all just trying to grow. We're all just trying to get better. So this is what it's looked like for me. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you want a really great place to go to get some tactical tools for building your business, check out this video right here. It's great, especially if you're just starting out. Click there, and I'll see you in that video.